This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pingrat. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, APCO, Ducket Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, Exo Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you. Good Monday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where Matt and I are going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm actually in Illinois at my parents' house. My mom was having a few issues with her heart. She had a pacemaker put in over Thanksgiving. And then I was at Table Rock for the OBT World Championship. It was a 10-boat tournament. And she's had a couple complications. So I came home. She's doing well. She thinks she's going to be able to come home from the hospital today. So I went from Oklahoma up to Table Rock to Illinois. And then I think I'm driving home either tonight or tomorrow. So that's where I am. That's why it's a remote show.
Yeah.
And I am not sitting next to you in the studio.
Well, everybody's going to know what time it is.
Why is that? Oh, yeah, because there's a clock. So, like, if I tilt it up a little bit, there's also, like, a trout above. See the trout?
Oh, yeah, very nice.
Trout above the clock, but.
Very nice.
You can't see the clock now.
No.
You can't tell what time it is.
If you move a little bit.
It's time
anyway.
for BTO.
It's good stuff. So, Table Rock, you caught them pretty good there, my friend.
Yeah, so it's just a 10-boat deal. It was like all the employees for the OBT, but then they bring in some of the pros and anglers who like represent those companies that they represent. Yeah. So, I mean, you're kind of behind the 8 ball before you start because it's on Table Rock. It's like Justin McClellan and Mike McClellan, and Justin's like probably better. Justin is better than Mike on Table Rock because he fishes it more. Jeremy Lawyer, Michael Neal showed up and fished it. Pete Wenners, who's like the best, greatest all-time guide on the history of Table Rock.
Pete's been there forever.
Ryan Butler, who lives there and has made the Bassmaster Classic before. Jeremy Lawyer, who's like one of the top 5 on any, Gray and Table Rock, Lake of the Ozarks. So, I mean, we finished third. I fished with Casey Shedd from AFCO. They have a casting contest, and then the employees get to pick on who they want to fish with. And Casey, for some reason, he had the first pick, and then being the businessman that he is with AFCO, sold the first pick to another guy, and then for some reason picked me second. So I was just happy that I went over the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit Angler of the Year, Michael Neal, and then the pressure was on. But we had there's a lot going on Table Rock. There was a 100-boat tournament that was this past weekend, right after our event. The weekend before was the U.S. Open, but 5-pound test in 50 to 80 foot of water. That's how deep we were. It was over like 120, and had 17:02 on the first day or 17:12 on the first day with a 5.68, and then almost 15 on the second day. Mixed bag spots, largies, and smallmouth.
All right, Dinkin and Duncan. Dinkin and Duncan?
No, I wouldn't call that Dinkin and Duncan. Yeah, it was a spinning rod. Yeah, it was 5-pound test. Yeah, it was over 100 foot of water. But I think that's a technique-specific deal. It wasn't just go down the bank and chuck at docks with a drop shot. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
But, I was proud of that, 31 and change. And then Justin McClellan got second. He had almost 19 on the second day. And then Jeremy Lawyer went like 19-16. Like I said, it was ridiculous for the 10 boats. So I was happy. I got one of those, I don't know what the name, Sunoco, whatever, but for the big bass, have you ever seen those chargers that you charge up and it like allows you to jumpstart your boat or your truck?
Yeah.
I got one of those. I was super excited about that.
Very nice.
And then I actually traded some stuff for one of the griddles that I've been in really wanting to get for the last 2 years in this event. Dave Rush caught the biggest smallmouth, so he got a griddle. So I traded him I got 2 chargers, so I traded him 1 charger for a griddle. So I got that jumpstart charger and a griddle and a little bit of cash. So it was a good weekend.
All right. So there was some wheeling and dealing going on, man.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good.
All right, you just asked what was going on, and
no, that's cool.
Launched into this long soliloquy.
Yeah. Did you run into Snowden?
I did not, but I know you had him on the show. I've not had a chance to listen to him.
I kind of thought you might have ran into him because he was practicing for that tournament. I don't know what tournament it was. He said there were going to be like 100 boats in it.
Yeah, that was the same one. That was after I considered fishing.
Yeah.
And then
what?
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. That's it.
Okay.
I was going to say.
It sounds like you caught a lot.
I did. And then I did Luke Duncan's podcast this week. Believe it or not, Mark, I never thought that would ever happen, but that one drops today too. So
I can't wait to listen to that.
It was shockingly a Mark Jeffries love fest. It really was.
Okay. Well,
the world is, dude, it's crazy out there, Mark. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we have a new football coach here in Norman. Things were pretty insane. They had like almost 2,000 people show up at Max Westheimer last night.
I saw that. That. Brett Venables, he coached us for a long time. I mean, that's a good hire, isn't it?
It is. He's no nonsense, man. He does not mess around. He's got a lot of old school in him. Very intense, very discipline oriented, and I think it's going to be a wake-up call. I think it's a great hire. It's a great hire, especially with what lies ahead going to the SEC. So we'll see. You know, did you see they have to play? OU is playing Oregon in the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, no one has a coach.
Yeah.
Supposedly is the way it's going to work.
So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, it was a crazy, crazy weekend of football. We had our state football championships this weekend too. And there was a team that was undefeated, the Tuttle Tigers, who we almost beat, who in basketball we beat 3 times last year. And I said at the beginning of the year, this high school had the potential to win a state championship in football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, and girls basketball. 5.
Did they do it?
No. They got blown out by the Canton Red Tornadoes, 35-0.
The Clinton? Why did they decide to be the Red Tornadoes?
I don't know, but that's like their 15th state title. There's a lot of tradition
in
there.
English, I think that's called an alliteration. The Tuttle Tigers. It's like 2 words that sound similar.
Yeah. So a no-go in football. We'll see what happens in basketball. No, but that's what I did.
Tornadoes.
Yeah, the Canton Red Tornadoes.
They have a good logo at least, or is it just a red tornado?
No, it's kind of. It's just a C
right now.
Yeah, they just have a
just
C.
A C? They don't even have a red tornado?
No. And where they play basketball there, it's like a roller dome. It is a dome building.
They kind of have one.
Is that like the swirling tornado? No.
Yeah, it is just a C.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I did. Kind of hung out a little bit. Got some stuff. You know, I was going through. I've been selling all these used bowling balls on eBay, and I had a bunch of fishing tackle that was underneath where I had a bunch of these bowling balls, and I found some stuff I didn't even realize that I had. So I'm like getting a little bit organized.
Are you gonna organize it?
No, I'm organizing, man. I'm getting into it. I'm trying to get my arsenal set up.
Nice. I talked with Catherine from the clothing deal, and the BTL merch store is still open if we're just talking about stuff that you want to get. A lot of people have ordered already, but I did get word. She said, and I'm going to even go a day earlier. If you order by the 13th, it will be there before Christmas.
Oh, cool deal.
So there's a week left. She actually said the 15th, but I'm going to go the 13th.
Playing it safe.
All right.
Mm.
So I know people have already gotten some of their BTL merch. I need to order some today from her so we can have it for the final show on the 20th.
Yeah. There you have it. Somebody wanted to know what my eBay account was. It's Z3 Media, All one word.
It's really boring. It's just like 3 bowling balls. I looked it up. I thought maybe I'd be able to find something out of it.
No, there's nothing out there. Nothing out there. All right, man. A tad bit of business news,
All right,
as I like to ponder on the show.
Though, if you are interested in the BTL merch, just go to basszone.com, click on the holiday merch drop banner, and I made it all very like we could have made way more money on that because I mean you get a little cut of it too.
Yeah,
but we pared everything back so the margins aren't as big as they normally
for the
are.
fans. For the fans.
For the listeners.
Yes. All right. A bit of business news there, Matthew.
All right, hit me with it.
You know, Bass Pro Shops, or the parent company, they were in the process of acquiring Sportsman's Warehouse. Did you know that?
No.
Yes. But it came down late Thursday, early Friday, that has been blocked, all right, by the merger deal, according to a regulatory filing that took place on Thursday. That has been blocked by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. So
Bass Pro Shops
merging with Sportsman's Warehouse. That is not going to happen now.
Really? Why? So it's like because that's like monopoly or something?
Yeah, I guess I didn't go through the details. The stuff that stuck out to me was the purchase price was around $800 million. Wow. And it was going to be a 42% premium versus what the Sportsman Warehouse closing price of $1,265 was on December 20th. So there was a massive premium that was going to be paid because Sportsman's Warehouse, obviously being a publicly traded company, but the FTC said, nope, not going to happen. So that has been one of the times that mergers and acquisitions or buyouts or whatever that Bass Pro Shops has been involved in that got shut down.
Yeah. So they would have had Cabela's and Sportsman's Warehouse.
Yeah.
And almost all the boat brands.
Yeah. So interesting thing being shut down. And the other thing I was going to mention, did you watch what I call the condensed version of the U.S. Open that was on NBC yesterday?
Watched it in the hospital room with my mom.
Yeah, the condensed version was much better than the 2-hour version.
I was pleasantly surprised with it because I had heard before that people were not thrilled with the, I guess, live version.
Yeah.
And that there was a lot of ads and stuff in it. And this one, when I watched it, I thought it was well put together. I mean, yeah, they still had the ads and stuff in there, but I mean, there was fishing camera, good interviews, crisp, clean. Like it was on NBC. Like I told my dad, I said, hey, can you turn it on the channel? And it was Table Rock. There it was. I mean, anybody could watch it. So it was cool. I thought it was well done.
It was much better. The post-production work that they did rather than the 2-hour show. It might have been, was it 3 hours? I don't know. It was forever. And it just went on and on and on. But the condensed version was much, much, much better. Hey, by the way, I forgot, in that press release that came out on Friday, it reminded me how much the Bass Pro Shops Cabela deals were. The merger in that was $4 billion. Totally
Wasn't
forgot
about getting credit, like getting the Cabela's club card or something like that?
I don't know. That's a lot of money, man. $4 billion.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so some interesting stuff there going down. Bass Pro Shops not going to have Sportsman's Warehouse.
So what now? Sportsman's Warehouse just is like, who else wants to buy us? Like,
I don't know.
How does that work? Like,
I don't know what they're going to do. Have no idea.
I mean, in a microcosm, it would be like if someone wanted to come in and buy BTL and you were like, okay, but then the government stepped in and was like, nah, you can't buy them. You have too many podcasts already. Is that kind of what it would be like?
Kind of. Yeah, in a way. In a simple way. I don't know. I don't know. I'll say this much, and I don't know how many people out there remember when Storm Lures was actually here in Norman, Oklahoma. Have you ever been by where Storm was? It's in Goolsby, basically.
Interesting.
You know where the
Close to
Goolsby Airport is?
No, I know where the gaming center is because my storage unit used to be right there.
Yeah, well, it's behind there. The Goolsby Airport is one little landing and takeoff strip, basically, with a couple of hangars, is all it is. But behind the Goolsby Airport is the original Storm Lures building.
Okay.
That's where John Storm and his brother, I can't remember his brother's name, but John Storm actually, I think, was one of the initial investors in Sportsman's Warehouse.
Really?
And I can remember when I first got into it, dude, this is 35 years ago.
Okay.
I can remember walking down the aisles of the warehouse for Storm Lures. John Storm gave me a tour. And the shelves were stacked up probably 20 feet, maybe 30 feet, with the Storm Lure boxes of nothing but wiggle warts and thunder sticks and everything else that Storm made. And
lightning shads.
Oh my gosh, dude. So many years later, the opportunity that I had to be able to see that.
Bug. Holy cow.
What was that?
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
That's the sound of a landline. I mean, I'm at my parents' house.
Do you need to
They're
get
in their 70s. I don't even know how to answer a landline. It's got a cord to it. It's on the wall, and it's ringing.
It doesn't go in circles, does it? It's got push buttons, right?
Yeah, no, it's got push button one.
Okay, that's good.
That startled me.
Anyway, man,
landline.
Looking back at those tours that John Storm gave me of Storm Manufacturing back then in Goolsby, Oklahoma, I had no idea what I was walking into with the validity of so many things that are just iconic from a lure standpoint now that will never be the same. But dude, it was mesmerizing walking down those aisles, seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of wiggle warts.
It would still be mesmerizing.
It's just not the same anymore. Anyway, I think, to make a long story short, I think he was one of the original investors in Sportsman's Warehouse, but I'm not sure on that. I think. Right. And then he was also involved, this was kind of cool, in movie production out in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Would that, what year, I mean, what decade would that have been? The
the 90s, 80s and 90s. Wow. It's kind of a bizarre thing. You know, Judasy, our friend Gary Judasy, he was kind of dabbling in that a little bit.
I did realize that.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of props. Like he has one of the
family that's involved in that out there pretty heavy.
Yeah. He's got one of the prop guns that was used in The Sopranos, which is kind of cool.
Really?
He's got it in a frame in his office. Anyway, so that's about all the business news that I have.
We got a good show today. We have a very interesting show today.
Yes, we do. Garrett
Paquette is going to come on. And the Elite Series announced they got 94 guys that are on their roster this year. Kind of a convoluted way on how you take your last 2 years, unless you've had 5 years, anyway, to get to it. But they axed a bunch of dudes, Mark. And we've mentioned it before in the show, too. There's some guys, I mean, let's be honest. Would you not say they were kind of on borrowed time because of the 19 split and then the pandemic year? And
yeah.
But Paquette was one of them who, I mean, dude, the guy almost won an Elite Series event on Lake Fork. I read you some of his stats on the first year he was an Elite Series guy. I mean, he was like, what, 23 years old then?
Yeah.
22, 23 years old. And never really like tanked, but just was right on the cusp there and ended up getting cut from the Elite Series this year, and then penned a really good article on Bassmaster.com about it. Planning on fishing all 9 opens, talked a little bit about kind of his sponsor support, where he sees himself, because, I mean, this dude is still in his mid-20s. So I thought he'd be good to have on to kind of talk about how it all went down, how it, you know, what it's like to be there that young, and then, you know, to be back in the opens now, and what his kind of goals are and how his sponsors looked at it. And then I also want to talk to him. He's kind of like an extreme fisherman. Like, he'll fish up there in Michigan right until ice out. Like, or not ice out. What do they call it? Ice in? ice up, locked up. What do you call it? I know it's ice out.
Very, very cold.
What is it right before the ice?
I don't know.
What do they call that period of time?
I have no idea. We'll find out. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break here on a Monday. We'll come back with Garrett Paquette and see what he has to say. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Elite FS puts the full range of Lowrance fish finding tools at your fingertips. Find fish with active imaging 3-in-1 with Fish Reveal. Target fish with active target live sonar and watch fish react to your lure as it happens. Built-in C-Map Contour Plus charts make it easy to find key fishing areas. But best-in-class charts and powerful sonar is only the beginning. It's easy to build your fully networked FS system. From sonar and waypoint sharing to controlling the Ghost trolling motor and power poles. Lowrance Elite FS. Targeting fish just got easier.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
So, you're looking to buy fishing electronics, huh? Are you also looking for true experts to help guide you through it? Well, at the Bass Tank, you've come to the right place. We are live forward-facing sonar pioneers with thousands of hours spent learning. Through winning trophies, cashing checks, and just having fun. Whatever brand you need, we have it. We offer free shipping, and we have 2 financing options available. Our experts are here to help you. Call us today or visit thebasstank.com.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.
For 14 years.
For over 23 years.
I've worn a bunch of different clothing brands over the years.
Some companies big.
And some companies small.
All of them said they were making clothing for us.
But none of them knew us.
None of them were us.
Except for one.
Except for one.
Except one.
AFCO.
AFCO.
AFCO. AFCO.
Fishing isn't part of us. It is us.
Everyone, Brandon Polnick here. People always be asking me what I got tied on. I'm like, X-Zone Lures. And they're like, Brandon, why you got X-Zone Lures tied on? And I'm like, let me show you why.
The bite.
Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's pretty big. Get in here. Oh, God. Giant. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I think you get the point.
All right, we are back on a Monday. Mark and Matt. I'm in Oklahoma. He's in Illinois. And we are getting ready to go to our guests. Real quick, I want to remind everybody, tomorrow we're going to have Frank Scalish on. Day 4 is actually going to be day 2 because we're not having a show on Wednesday, Thursday, and obviously Friday of this week because of the basketball tournament that I have to go to in Woodward, Oklahoma. So road trip taking place. And then real quick, Matt, also a lot of people want to know, spoon or drop shot on Table Rock? What were you doing real quick? And then we'll get into it later. Neither one?
Neither one.
Okay. There you have it. They wanted the info. We'll dive into it here in a moment. All right. It is time to bring in our special guest and appreciate him taking time out. Let's bring him in now. Garrett, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, guys. I'm doing good. I want to start by saying And I think you guys saw this. I was in a mad dash around my house trying to find Wi-Fi, trying to find different devices, and now I've ended up in my truck, in my driveway. So this is what we're doing. It's just like fishing a tournament. You got to go out there and make the adjustments. The Wi-Fi wasn't happening. The Apple Mac wasn't working. We're in the driveway. We're on 5G cell phone network. Hopefully this works. So here we are.
Mark, he looks like his picture's clear.
Yeah, it's not horizontal.
Jeffries likes you. And then
Okay,
it depends if you have your phone on lock. There you go. No. There you go.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Jeffries is a big fan of horizontal.
Okay, you're going to get a little bit of steering wheel, but hopefully that's
all right.
The steering wheel, it's kind of that adds a little character to the shot.
No, that's all good. Well, Garrett, appreciate you taking time out. And part of the reason why Matt wanted to get you booked is we were both really impressed and intrigued with the story that came out on Bassmaster.com and thought it would be cool to get you on the show to where you can dive a little deeper into some of the comments and your thoughts on your future, the past, the present. And I'm really curious to hear you elaborate a little bit more. So honestly, what are your thoughts right now, man?
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, I was unfortunately cut from the Elite Series. I think I was I don't know what it ended up shaking out being, maybe the first or second guy out. But yeah, so obviously it's a pretty tough pretty tough pill to swallow after being out there for 3 years. It's not a situation that I felt like I should be anywhere close to being. But that's how it worked out. I mean, there was a lot of unfortunate things that happened. There was some bad luck, and there was a ton of bad decision making and poor performance by me that all compiled together to, kind of create this situation we're in. So it's, if I were to look at this, 3 years ago and think that this would be the situation I'd be in, I'd be, I'd tell you're lying, or I'd be pretty shocked. But this is the reality. It's unfortunately, it's one of those sports where, momentum kind of can go the wrong way, and it's really hard to stop. And for those of us that kind of get away from it, you're out. It's not a, and a lot of people have called me oh, I'm so sorry, it's not right. You only had one really terrible year. And I'm like, this is a professional sport. This isn't a charity. So, things have to happen. If you're not performing, you're out. That's just the bottom line.
Matt?
One of the things that I thought was interesting that really stuck out to me in the article was, and you said, it seems like the more I learned about fishing competitively at this level, the worse I did. It was crazy when I look at it. The better I got with my tackle and equipment, the worse I became at bringing bass to the scales. And that's something that I've heard and seen a lot. I've covered this sport for a long time, and we see guys who come in and it's like, holy cow, this guy is lighting the world on fire. And then they seem to kind of plateau or go downhill or vice versa. But, you see it in the opens too. How many guys do you see in the opens who you're like, I watched that guy try to back his boat in and he couldn't do it in the morning. And then he goes out and just kicks my butt. Like, how is this? You know what I mean? How is this possible? So kind of break that down on what you mean by that, because I think that a lot of anglers, me included, have gone through that and you can look at it as a curve or a circle or however you want to, where you're like, man, this is easy and I know it. And then you reach that point where you're like, man, it seems like the more you know, the worse you get for some reason with a lot of people in this sport.
Yeah, definitely. And, so what I was referring to when I said that is, I guess it was more of the information aspect, and not that I'm a guy that gets information. I don't do it at all. But when you start coming back to these lakes, I've been to Gunnersville now 4 or 5 times. I've been to Fork, we went there 3 straight years. We've been to the St. Lawrence every year. You gather information each time. And, the first time I went to Lake Fork, I've never seen the place. I don't know anything about it. I put my bow in the water. I did what I wanted to do. I like fishing offshore. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what baits to throw. And I just went and did my thing. And I fished with a real open mind. And it obviously worked. So, and then I go back there 3 years later, similar time of the year. And it's so hard not to do it because you've had such great success. But I found myself a lot of the time trying to do what worked. Hey, this is the same time of year. These fish are in the same phase. Why aren't they on this, 10 to 12 foot clean areas and secondary points, stuff like that. So the more you see, obviously makes you a better angler, but you have to use the information, in a very smart manner. And it's tough when you only get a couple days of practice. You want to force what you've had success with, what guys do well doing. And a lot of times it's better just to kind of, have a real clean mind and just show up and fish what's presented in front of you, because it's very rare that you get to these places and it's happening how you think it's going to. There's always little tweaks to be made. The fish aren't going to be in their traditional patterns, and if you get caught up in that, I mean, it's the difference from being in the top 10 to being dead last. I mean, it's that drastic.
Wow. You mentioned the Lake Fork, and that was, I believe, your rookie season where you broke the Century Club, almost got the win there. As a rookie midway through your first season, how big was that from a sponsor standpoint, a notoriety standpoint, a fan standpoint, to have that tournament and crack 100 pounds? Did you notice a huge uptick in Garrett Paquette fans and sponsors calling you after that event?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it put a lot of, obviously, like, you have a really good group of friends and family, we all do, and they're always behind you and they know what you've done. But it definitely kind of opened me up to another group of guys that, maybe just watch the show on Sundays or whatever that is. So I definitely felt a different, uptick of fans, and same with the sponsors. I mean, obviously the sponsors, like, if you've noticed me, I haven't really made a ton of changes since I've started on the Elites. I've had a lot of those guys, AFCO, Sunline, Big Bite. They've been with me since day one. So I'm not a guy that really jumps around a whole lot. I got confidence in what I've been using since before I was out here or out on the Elites. But it does feel good for them. I mean, because when you have guys that are behind you and that are trusting in you and investing in you, it feels good to go out there and perform and showcase their products as well as, your ability.
And one of the things that you said in that article was a lot of your sponsors are sticking with you as you have announced that you're fishing all 9 of the Bassmaster Opens this year. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm very fortunate for that. So yeah, you're going to see the pictures of me next year on stage. My jersey is going to look almost identical. And I've told all those guys plenty of times, I understand the business. I understand if you guys have to make changes, and literally almost all of them have said, no, we're sticking with you, and, get out there and work hard and hopefully make it back. So not to say things haven't changed, because obviously things are going to change, but I'm going to be working with all the same companies next year. And I'm truly appreciative of that.
Garrett, I'm curious with what has taken place over the last 2 years on the Elite Series and the way that you're going to both on and off the water attack the 9 Opens that you're going to fish in 2022. What can you pass along to the fans, or what is one thing that definitely is going to impact you next year from maybe it's something that you're going to change or do different or whatever in 2022 that you feel like that some of your lack of success was due to this being that way over the last 2 years? Can you think of anything?
Yeah, definitely. So when to even go back before I made the Elites, I fished 7 AAA events, 4 Opens, 3 Costas at the time, or Toyotas, and I had 5 top 5s. And then, rolling into the Elites, I had I was in the top 10, like 4 or 5 of the top 6 tournaments, or the first 6 tournaments at one point. And a lot of that is, and I'm not blaming anybody, but it was honestly me just doing my thing, not talking to anybody, not getting, wrapped up in, oh man, this guy's having a great practice. Oh, this guy's having a terrible practice, so he must not be shell, stuff like that. I was truly just in my zone, doing my thing. Not really, I don't want to say not sharing information or not talking a lot, but I wasn't, I felt like the more people I started to interact with, the more ideas started to get into my head and started to change the way I do things. So for this upcoming year, I'm kind of shutting off the phone, getting off the social media during the tournaments, and I'm just going to get back to fishing how I want to fish. I'm going to show up to the lakes, have a decent idea from the research that I've had of what I want to do, and I'm going to go do it. I'm not going to, really get caught up in this guy's doing this guy's not doing this. I'm just going to kind of get back to my old school ways of, being out there as a lone wolf kind of.
All right. One follow-up on that, and then I'll send it to you, Matt. I'm curious, the Opens, no off limits. I mean, you can go practice as much as you want. With that situation, do you think that's going to help you, Or are you still going to have the mindset of, look, I'm only going to go practice for 3 days. I'm only going to practice for 5 days. What are your thoughts on the practice situation and what either helps or hurts you when it comes to practice?
Well, first, unpopular opinion, they need to do something with the practice period because it's getting absolutely out of control in the opens. Matt probably agrees. There's no reason guys are going to be up there 3-4 weeks practicing for some of these summertime
and then you feel
tournaments.
guilty if you're not up there.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Like for instance, at the St. Lawrence, I fished in an event there 2 weeks before the tournament, and I had something to do back home, but I stayed there and I ended up practicing for probably like 7-8 days total.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's out there doing it, so you have to. So this is the difference between the elites and the opens, and I'm not saying one is better than the other. The elite series guys that do well, they usually do well based off patterns. I call it fishing off of hints. You get a bunch of hints in practice, and then you go fish your tournament. Whether it's running this type of bank, hey, I need to be throwing you're just going off of just a little bit of hint here and there. Whereas the opens, we got 225 guys, long practice periods. The lakes fish really tight, really tough because the fish have been caught a lot. You're fishing more so spots. So if you want to be successful, I'm not saying to go there for 3 weeks, but to go there for 2 days, in the spring tournaments and the fall tournaments probably works. But if you can go for 3 or 4 days, which I like the 4-day practices, that's probably what I'll do a lot of. If you can go there and accumulate more spots, unfortunately that's kind of the game. That's what you have to do. So I will have I'm not going to be there for weeks on end at some of these places, but instead of like the 2.5 days I'm used to, I'll probably plan on, getting there like a Friday night and fishing 4 full days and maybe a half day of practice. That'll probably be my rough game plan coming into this year.
All right, Matt.
Is it hard to get motivated to go fish the opens after you've been launching your boat on the Elite Series for 3 years? I know that's a tough question and you want to sound optimistic, but I just know from the opens to like a local or regional level, there's something where you're putting your hat on and you're going $100,000 or a classic spot or Angler of the Year. And then you're just like, it is what it is. Is it hard to get the same kind of fire, or are you even more motivated because you're in your mid-20s and you have an opportunity and you almost requalified this year through the opens to where it was just seamless? But are you even more motivated to get back?
Yeah. I'm a guy, I just love to compete. Okay. I'll be honest, I lose sleep over Tuesday night tournaments on Belleville, like 15 minutes from my house. That's just the way I am. So there's going to be no shortage of motivation this year. It's going to be it's hard. The glitz and the glam of the Elite Series is awesome. That's something to get excited for. The motivation this year is honestly, I guess I'd say it's more than before I made the Elites. Let's put it that way on the Elites, just because I know, I know what's at stake. I know what it's like when you make it there. And there's honestly a reward in professional fishing. Fishing these AAA tournaments, Matt, as well as anybody, that it's a true grind. The fishing's always tough. We're not on the greatest lakes or the greatest times. You kind of almost get punished going through these tournaments. And I just love catching fish. So I am motivated to hopefully make it back to that top level where you're going to Santee Cooper in March. You're going to St. Lawrence River in August. You're going to all the fun places where you can really go and have a good time fishing. So no, there's no shortage of motivation. I'm going to do everything I can to, kind of make things right and continue my career as it should go.
Hey, Mark, funny story. So there's an open this year and my co-angler, I'll just go ahead and say it, was a gynecologist from Queens. And it was his first bass fishing tournament. And I did something that was a little bit against what I thought was a little bit against the grain. And we get to the spot and I put the trolling motor down. I'm looking around and I wasn't really 100% dialed in. I was dialed in, but there were other options, right?
Okay.
And I had chosen this option. I was all in on this option. And I looked back and I said, dude, I said, we're going to catch him today. And he said, why? And I said, you see those other 2 boats? And he said, yeah. I said, that's Garrett Paquette and Chad Pipkins. I said, we're the only 3 in this stretch. I said, if there's 2 other boats that I want to be in this stretch, I said, we made the right choice.
Very nice. And you ended up catching them, right?
I think we all I think we all ended up catching them there. You caught him earlier that day because I saw you and I had 1 or 2 And you were like, I said, you got him? And Garrett was like, yeah, I got like 21. And it was like a half an hour in. And oh, no.
Oh,
I'm
man.
a little, but one of the things I wanted to also talk with you about is you seem to do a lot of fishing, like fun fishing, clear water, smallmouth, cold weather. Like you like to get out there.
I love it. Yeah.
In the absolute worst conditions and try to catch them. I mean, is that something that you've always been? Is that something you're doing to stay sharp, or is that something that you just like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I like to do it. I don't know why, because it's absolutely brutal. I mean, you know, me and my buddies when we were younger, we used to do these things we call them man challenges, where we'd literally go out in the worst weather possible and see who would quit first. So I guess I've just been trained over years to just go out there when it's nasty and cold and raining and snowing. But the cool thing about it is up here in Michigan is if you really want to go out and have a really fun day of catching a ton of fish, ton of big fish, that is when you want to go. I mean, when there's no one out there, people are hunting, people are watching football. It's a tough thing to deal with, you know, dealing with the weather, but it is truly, in my opinion, the time to be out there. So the last couple of years, I haven't done it as much because we've been selling boats. You know, I haven't had a boat late into November like I typically have had. But yeah, if I have, you know, I was actually just talking with someone about this the other day. I was like, man, I wish I didn't sell my boat, because this is the time of year I love to get out there and throw a blade bait and catch 100 fish off of one little rock pile. But it hasn't happened the last couple of years. But yeah, I love, you know, this period right before the ice comes on our lakes. It's the time in Michigan, I think.
That's they call it ice on. What do they call
yeah,
it? It's ice
I'm
out.
Think. Ice out is the spring. I don't know what you call
ice
the
up?
stuff. Ice up. Yeah.
Ice in.
Pre-ice up.
What's the
We'll have to think
worst
of a term for
conditions
that.
you've ever had a bass boat out on a Great Lake in, or a northern lake like that?
So on a Great Lake, I was on Saginaw Bay one time, and it started blowing offshore. We were like 22 miles out on these islands, and we were kind of protected, so I didn't really I could see the trees were blowing on the island. But I was like, what's that?
Cold weather, wintertime?
No, this wasn't cold. But if you want to talk cold, yeah, there was one time.
Yeah, I want to talk like cold, like we're talking.
Okay, we're talking. Yeah,
the Ice
yeah, we'll talk
like Game of Thrones stuff, like Beyond the Wall stuff.
There's one. I remember up north one time. Man, we launched the boat. It was like 12 degrees, I think, and it was blowing. So the wind chill was like 8, and the water was still open. So we were out there, but like we literally were idling out. We had to idle out of this pocket to get into the lake, and by the time we were idling out, just the waves slapping the boat was already starting to create icicles on the rub rail. And that, I mean, we're talking like a minute or two. Yeah, it was terrible. But we got out there, and yeah, we actually didn't catch them great. That was a little bit too extreme, but we might have caught, you know, not great as like 20 or 30 fish. So it was still worth it. But it's tough when every cast you have to dip your rod in the water and get the ice off. That's probably, you know, pushing a little too much. Maybe wait for the next 30-degree day. Don't go out when it's, you know, the reel feels like in the teens. But we were young, so.
Still young.
Wow, icicles on the rub rail. Yeah, I want no part of that.
Have you ever seen that, Mark?
No, I want no part of that.
I'll have to I got a picture somewhere. I'll send it to you guys.
So right before Thanksgiving, I fished just a little jackpot with Brad Hallman on 10 Killer, and he started out. He said, "You run the trolling motor." He's like, "My hands and feet are so cold, I think I'm gonna puke." and then I was like, I can't believe it. And then like 30 minutes later, I was like, "You got to run the trolling motor. I think I'm gonna puke now." And so we just alternated back there with hand warmers, rubbing our hands, stomping our feet until it got warm like 2 or 3 hours in. That's probably one of the worst feelings you could have when it's like that, so cold, like it's so numb that you feel like you're going to vomit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things with a cold. You need, you know, I like fishing in gloves if I can. AFCO makes a really cool little neoprene glove.
They make a bunch of new ones now too. I just saw them.
Yeah, and I've been trying some of those, and I like some of those. But the biggest thing is like you gotta stay above it, because if you let yourself get to that point where you start shivering and you're numb, you're probably not going to get it back throughout the day. So you either need to get off the water or do something different. But yeah, the biggest thing is, and I've gone through years of, you know, layers, socks, wool socks, the gloves, just staying above the point where, you know, your body starts to break, because like I said, once that happens, you're done for the day. So.
Wow. All right. I want to know this, Garrett, and forget about the big water. I'm not talking about the big water. You being from Michigan, how good is the fishing away from the Great Lakes in Michigan, the smaller lakes? Give us some indication of what it's like.
Yeah, it's awesome. So like where I live, I'm out here right in Metro Detroit, Southeast Michigan. The next county from my house, I got to choose from and fish, and you know, you're not going to see the weights like on Lake St. Clair, the 25 pounds to win tournaments, stuff like that. But we got plenty of, especially our largemouth fishing. We got tons of great largemouth fishing. A lot of cool places to improve your skills as an all around angler, and that's one of the things that I focused on before I, wanted to fish professionally. I didn't want to just go out there and be a clear water smallmouth guy. I wanted to learn how to flip. I wanted to frog. I wanted to throw crankbait, stuff like that. So we have a lot of cool lakes around the house. But then once you get into northern Michigan, for example, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a guy up there right now. I think he caught like a 36-pound bag the other day of smallmouth.
Holy moly!
Yeah. So and then we got a couple. We got like a Burton Mullet lake. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. There's always tournaments around our opening weekend that'll take 27 pounds to win, and literally 19th out of 20th place will be 22 pounds. So we have, we're really blessed here. It's one of the reasons I'm still in Michigan, honestly, is like, you have to deal with the winter, which I don't love, but man, once it turns and it becomes spring, the fishing's so good. It's just hard to get away from it. There's not another place in the country, I feel like, or there's very few where you can literally go everywhere and catch 30 to 100 fish a day.
Wow. Okay. My last question, and then I'll send it to Matt, and we'll close it out. With a lot of the guys that fish the opens that are aspiring to get on the Elite Series, obviously with you having been there, I'm curious, do you have plans or are you involved in something else away from fishing that is going to occupy any of your time, generate revenue, whatever that might be? Just kind of is, let's face it, Matt and I have talked about it a lot. A lot of guys out there, they have side gigs. They have stuff going on the side while they're either trying to make the Elite Series, and heck, some of the guys on the Elite Series have side gigs going on. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is there kind of a goal, or do you have anything going on away from fishing that's really going to take up some of your time while you're trying to requalify?
Right. Yeah, so I wouldn't say away from fishing because I'm still going to be fishing. But like the one thing is I look at this schedule and I've already got plans. I'm going to do a lot of guiding. I got Lake St. Clair in my backyard. And fortunately, the way the schedule works, I'm on the road until like the end of April. And then I literally have the whole summer off. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do a ton of guiding on Lake St. Clair. And then I'm actually going to link up with my buddy down in Florida. And I'm going to do some guiding down there, some shiner trips. Right after that open there in Kissimmee. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. That's, really going to be the way that I'm going to, keep making money to do it. Cause that is the unfortunate part with the opens is you almost have to have like a top 8, top 9, maybe nowadays with top 5. Well, you get 200 boats, you can get a top 10, but to make any money, I mean, it's brutal when you go out there and, I made a check every tournament last year in the Northerns and you break even. So the opens, as far as that goes, it is a tough thing, and you should not plan on fishing the opens as your primary income unless you're going to win every other tournament.
You should not plan on fishing the opens as any income.
As any income, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Like, there's no if you are making income, you either did really well in one and sucked in the other, or you're fixing to be on the Elite Series.
Definitely, yeah. You can make the Elite Series if you fish all 9, and maybe profit less than $2,000. I mean, that's a legit possibility. So yeah, you need to plan accordingly if you're going to do the opens. That it's great if you make money, but plan on definitely having something else going because it'll burn you pretty bad.
All right, Matt. Anything else?
No, that's all I got. I really appreciate it, dude. It's interesting. You talk about the young guys of the sport. You said what? You're 27 now.
Yeah, just turned 27.
Yeah, just turned 27. You have and you fished the opens for what, 2-3 years before you qualified?
Yeah,
16, yep. 17, 18.
Yep.
And then 19 or Yeah. Anyway, you've been doing this since you were 20 years old.
Mhm.
And you talk about the experience that you get under the belt and the learning curve and stuff. So, man, I mean, even though, you talked about how it hurts and how disappointed you are in that article, we talked a little bit about it off air. Like, dude, you're still so far ahead of the curve of what most guys are with your experience that you've had a whole career before you've even had a career, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's one of the ways I'm looking at it. That's, unfortunately there's some guys that, it's going to be really hard to get back, just at the stage of their life they're in. I still have a really great opportunity in front of me, and man, it'd be a really great story to, just make things right, qualify again, and stick and just kind of progress with my career. So that's the plan. I'm not, not to say I'm not deterred, because it stings. I mean, when you get cut out of something and you got to be top 3 out of 200, that's a tall task. But yeah, I'm super jacked up, and I think it'd be great to make it again and move forward.
All right, man. Great stuff. And if you get a chance, that story's still up on Bassmaster.com. Is it not, Matt? It still is, right?
Yeah. All the stories are still up.
Yeah.
The easiest way to find it is just to Google Garrett Paquette Bassmaster, and then it's all the articles that he's in are right underneath it.
Yeah, good stuff. So make sure you check that out. All right, Garrett, man, have a great holiday. Enjoy a little bit of time off, stay warm, and then look forward to seeing you get after it on the Opens next year in 2022.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and same to you guys. Enjoy the holidays and be safe. And, maybe we'll be doing a podcast in a year about how we both qualified back. How does that sound, Matt?
That would be nice. I mean, if you're fishing all 9 and I'm taking the helmet BTL next year, there's a chance I might be giving you a call during the year to do some live BTLs on location from the Open. So
awesome. Sounds good to me, man.
All right, Garrett, take care, man.
All right, we'll see you guys.
See you. All right, there you have it, Garrett Paquette, and good dude, man. It seems like he's definitely got his stuff lined up for what he needs to do to have success. Obviously, he's dove into the pool of the Elite Series, and now it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the Opens. And I agree with him 100%. I think a lot of guys agree with what he said about the whole practice situation on the Opens. We'll see if anything happens to that in 2023. Obviously, nothing's going to happen in 2022, but I think it's just a change.
A week or 2 weeks before the official, I think you give it 4 days of practice. You allow them to come down and do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and part of Wednesday, right? But then just a week before that, I think then really deters the marathon practices, but still allows guides on the fishery to make money on that fishery without sacrificing thousands of dollars for the chance to fish in the Open.
Yeah. Hey, man, he's still got fire in the belly. That's a good thing.
Well, yeah, he's 27 years old.
Yeah. Hey, you still got fire in the belly. You're an old man. You're approaching 40, my friend.
No, I got a long time before I'm 40.
Not really.
I got like 4 years.
All right, man. People want you to give up the juice when we come back on Table Rock.
What juice?
The juice. They want to know what you were doing to catch those fish. 5-pound test line. You can.
There is no juice.
Ponder what you want to say during the break. We'll come back and wrap things up. So everybody stay tuned.
All
we'll
right.
be right back on a Monday.
Pro-inspired, pro-designed, tested and proven by legends on the water, dominating the tournament trail for over 50 years. Everything you need, one legendary brand. Strike King.
Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro Jacob Wheeler here with my new Signature Series line of rods with Duckett Fishing. We have my 7.2 cranking rod right here. Crankbaits can be very fickle, and having the right, having a lot of tip can be too much, and having not enough tip can, lose a lot of fish. So you really got to be careful. If there's one or two techniques that I'm really, really adamant about having the perfect action is a crankbait, especially like a square bill, a DT6, those medium running crankbaits in the springtime when those fish's mouth are pretty tough. That's when I'm really, really, really on top of having my actions just perfect. There's one.
You know what works. Now you need a bunch of them so you don't run out on your next fishing trip. The Big Bite Pro Packs feature 25 baits per pack at a price far below that of having to buy 5 packs of regular baits. Now the Pro Pack has a big brother, the Mega Pack. The Mega Pack features 100 of your favorite baits.
With these, one bag is usually plenty to get through the day. It helps me stay organized, helps me save money, helps me catch more fish.
Combining one of the most popular hook styles with Gamakatsu's beefier Superline offering, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend delivers the strength necessary to target big fish in heavy cover. Well suited for braided line and heavier fluorocarbon, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend is built using stronger Superline wire that allows anglers to easily fish a finesse worm around heavy cover. The round bend offers a larger bite area, perfect for any worm presentation, while increasing your hookup ratios. The newly enhanced Z-Bend holds your plastics on the hook longer, reducing the number of pull-offs and reducing damage to plastics. Available in 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, and 5/0, this is the most durable worm hook, designed for heavier lines that hold your bait on longer.
The Little John family of crankbaits designed by top tour pro John Cruz have excelled at catching bass in any condition for years. They all feature a flat-sided design and paint jobs that are seldom seen in mass production bait. The Little John family also expands with new rattling versions of the Little John 50 and Little John 50 MD. Both of these baits are proven fish catchers that will now be available in rattling versions for stained and muddy water. They feature the same great action and diving depths as the original 50 and MD sizes.
The Ned Rig. What rod should I be using with the Ned Rig? My favorite is the Denali Lithium multi-spin rod. It's our 7'4" length, great Ned Rig rod. It's got a great sensitive tip on it. It's long enough where I can make long casts, which you're usually fishing clear water with a Ned Rig, and it's got enough backbone to get those fish in. So check it out, Denali Lithium Series 7'4" multi-spin.
All right, we are back, wrapping up Monday. And dude, you don't have to go into great detail. There was just quite the conversation going on the comments over on YouTube. I don't know if you looked at those or not.
I'll give a sponsor plug. There's a 4-inch Big Bite jerk shad on a 3/8 ounce Big Bite. I don't know the name of the head. It's shaped like a bullet. It's got two little wire keepers on it and a 1/0 thin wire Gamakatsu. Mike McClellan, the pro swimmer head, I believe is what it's called, Mark.
Okay. All right. Did you get practice? Did you go up there and practice that? Did you find it, or was it
one day
something that you just stumbled on?
One day. It's kind of in the same general vicinity of where we caught them last year in the same event.
Okay.
So I
played
did
a little history.
So yesterday, we talked about some big box stuff earlier in the show, and then we had Josh Douglas on a couple of weeks ago. But where my mom is up in the hospital in Springfield is like 5 miles from the Shields.
Okay.
Have you ever been in one of those?
I have not.
Dude,
I have not.
You need to go in one of those. I went and just, I like to just look around and see what's up. Well, first of all, the thing is, like I said, there's like 3 aisles of Frisbee. There's like 2 aisles of ping pong. I mean, it's and the fishing section. It's interesting what they had. They got like a full supply of BFEs in there.
Okay.
That was cool. A bunch of different stuff. So, but that store is absolutely insane.
I think the
If you get a
closest one to
chance
us
go
is
look at it.
Denver, isn't it?
Is
They
there
have
one in
Denver?
Dallas?
I don't know if there's one in Dallas or not.
I know they're expanding, but it's a.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a Ferris wheel inside that you can ride.
What?
Yeah,
Must be a high roof line.
it is. It's like 3 stories.
Wow.
Ferris wheel, Mark.
Huh. Yes, I'm getting word there is one in the DFW area. So
right.
the next time I'm down there, I'm going to check it out. Do they have a Ferris wheel in every store?
I don't know. That could be their thing. But the cart, like each of the boxes of the Ferris wheel were wrapped in different logos, like an Under Armour wrap.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Logos on it, yeah.
And then I'm receiving word there is another one coming to Dallas in 2023. So, interesting.
It's pretty impressive.
Very nice.
Very impressive.
All right. You gave up the juice. All right, folks. Tomorrow, Frank Scalish will be on here. Are you gonna be back in time? Are you gonna try and get on? Yes or no? Maybe. What's the scoop on that?
Yeah.
You'll be back?
Yeah.
All right. So you'll be in Tulsa, and we'll have Frank on tomorrow. We might open up the phone lines. I received several requests to do a Sunline Hotline show with Frank. The only issue with that is it gets a little complicated because what you have to do, if you call in, you ask your question to Frank, then you have to hang up and listen. Because remember, they can't hear the phone call.
Well, that's fine. That's how they do it in most talk shows anyway.
Yeah. So it'll be call in, talk to Frank, ask him a question, ask Matt a question, and then hang up and listen. So we'll do that. It's kind of, somebody mentioned it right here, Clay. Here, let me throw this up. This is a good point. It's free locker room time, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Kind of the condensed version, way condensed down. So tomorrow we'll have Frank. All right, man. Well, be careful. I'm glad to hear your mom's doing much better. I know everybody's thinking about her. Best wishes to her and your family, and hopefully things will go good and continue to go well. And then we will talk to you tomorrow, same time with Uncle Frank.
Sounds like a game plan, Mark.
All right, we open up tomorrow night too. First game of the year on the road.
The one
Newcastle.
that you're coaching for. Your head coach or assistant?
Yeah, they're really good too. So, and we've only really had all of our football players that play basketball for a couple of weeks. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But you got to play the game, right?
You go in the locker room and you're like, this other team is much more talented than you.
No, you never say anything like that. No. Now you may get with one player and say, "Look, dude, if you don't man up on this guy, he's gonna, make you."
I mean, I remember in hockey we knew, like when we played Lindenwood or something, you were like, their first 2 lines are better than ours.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
there's ways of going about it.
Doesn't mean you can't win.
Yeah, good point. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, man. Be careful. Coming back. Let me know if you need anything. Folks, back tomorrow, same time. That's it. We're out of here.